there. Say I'm busy.
But it's the society editor.
Oh,
Evening Newsweek.
the society editor. She's very important. Good afternoon, Miss Ellerby. This is Vita Simmons. Yes, a tea and reception for the members of the Wednesday Forum. You might say program tea. My mother, you know, the late Marcella Pinnydown, pioneer, cultural leader, came here by ox team as a child and founded the Wednesday Forum. Myrtle, how many would you say?
Oh, 100. Say 75. I mean, 75. Say 100.
75. Miss Tewksbury is a soloist, accompanied by Wilda McCurdy, accompanist.
Mother,
Yes.
Miss Tewksbury's almost finished.
She'll do an encore.
What if they don't give her a lot of applause?
I've known her for years. She'll do an encore. You might say that I'm entertaining, assisted by my daughter, Miss Myrtle May Simmons. What color would you call that?
This Rancho Rose, they told me.
Miss Myrtle May Simmons looked charming in a modish Rancho Rose-toned lace, picked up the big girdle with a touch of magenta on emerald. Oh, I wish you could see her, Miss Ellerby. Yes.
Oh, Mother, she's almost finished. And where's the cateress?
Everything's ready. Now, the minute she's finished singing, we open the dining room doors and begin pouring. The parlors and halls are festooned with smilax. Yes, festooned. That's right. We haven't given a party in years. There's a reason that I don't want it in the papers. But we all have our troubles, Miss Ellerby. The guest list. Oh, yes.
Mother, come.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, Miss Ellerby, I'll call you later.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet just came in.
Mrs. Eugene Chauvenet Sr., her father was a scout with Buffalo Bill.
Oh, so that's where she got that hat.
Myrtle, you must be nice to Mrs. Chauvenet. She has a grandson about your age.
But what's the use with Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle, remember, we agreed not to talk about that this afternoon. The point of this whole party is to get you started. Now, we work with those older women to the younger group.
But what's the use? The only time gentlemen come to see you is in the evenings. And we can't have people here in the evenings. The only reason we could have a party this afternoon is because Uncle Elwood's playing pinochle at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Thank God for the firehouse.
Yes, I know, but they'll have to invite you anyway, and it won't hurt them one bit. Oh, Myrtle, you've got so much to offer. I don't care what anyone says. There's something sweet about every young girl. And a man takes that sweetness and look what he does with it. But you've got to meet somebody, Myrtle. That's all there is to it.
Oh, if I do, they say, that's Myrtle May Simmons. Her uncle is Elwood P. Dowd, the biggest screwball in town. Elwood P. Dowd and his pal.
You promise?
All right. Let's get them into the dining room.
Now, Myrtle, when the members come in here and you make your little welcome speech on behalf of your grandmother, be sure to do this.
And then I say a few words about my Uncle Elwood and his pal Harvey. Damn Harvey!
Oh, Myrtle May, that's right. Let the whole Wednesday Forum hear you. Oh, you said that name. You promised you wouldn't say that name, and you said it.
I'm sorry, Mother, but how do you know he won't come back this afternoon and introduce Harvey to everybody?
Myrtle May, this is unkind of you. Elwood is the biggest heartache I have. And even if people do call him Peter, he's still my brother. And he won't be home this afternoon.
Are you sure?
Of course, I'm sure.
Why can't we live like normal people?
Must I remind you again, Elwood is not living with us. We are living with him.
Living with him and Harvey. Did grandmother know about Harvey?
I wondered about that. She never wrote me if she did.
Then why did she leave him all the property?
Oh, I suppose it was because she died in his arms. People are sentimental about things like that.
You always say that, and it doesn't make sense. She couldn't make out her will after she died, now could she?
Don't be didactic, Myrtle May. It's not becoming in a young girl, and men loathe it. Now, don't forget to wave your hand.
I'll do my best.
Oh, dear, Miss Tewksbury's voice is certainly fading.
Not fast enough.
Lovely, Miss Tewksbury. Perfectly lovely. I loved it.
Excuse me a moment. I have to answer the phone. Make yourself comfortable, Harvey. name, my dear? Miss Elsie Greenewald. Harvey, it's a Miss Elsie Greenewald. And how are you today, Miss Greenewald? That's fine. Yes, I'd be happy to join your club. I belong to several clubs now. The University Club, the Country Club, and the Pinochle Club at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. I spend a good deal of my time there, or at Charlie's place, or over at Eddie's Bar. And what is your club, Miss Greenewald? Uh-huh. Excuse me. Harvey, I get the Ladies' Home Journal. Good Housekeeping, and the Open Road for Boys for 2 years for $6.25. Sounds fine to me, Miss Greenewald. I'll join it. Harvey, how does it sound to you? Harvey says it sounds fine to him also. He would like to join too. Yes, 2 subscriptions, and mail everything to this address. Well, I certainly hope I will have the pleasure of meeting you sometime, my dear. Harvey, she wants to meet me. When? When would you like to meet me, Miss Greenewald? Well, why not right now? My sister seems to be having a few friends in, and we would consider it an honor if you would come and join us. My sister will be delighted. 343 Temple Drive. And I'll expect you in a very few minutes. Goodbye, my dear. She's coming right over. Harvey, don't you think that we should freshen up a bit? So do I.
Can't seem to remember where I put that guest list, and I must read it to Miss Ellerby. Have you seen it, Miss Johnson?
No, I haven't, Mrs. Simmons.
Look on my dresser.
Yes, ma'am. Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet, she's asking for you. Oh, Mrs. Chauvenet, here's Mother. Here she is.
Vita Louise Simmons.
Oh, hello.
I thought you were dead.
Oh, I'm very much alive, thank you.
And this full-grown girl is your daughter. I've known you since you were a baby.
I know.
What's your name, dear?
This is Myrtle. Myrtle May, for the 2 sisters of her father. He's dead. That's what confused you.
Where's Elwood?
Oh, Elwood couldn't be here. Let me get you some tea.
Elwood isn't here.
No.
Well, shame on him. He's the main reason I came. I want to see Elwood.
Oh, come, Aunt Ethel. There are loads of people just anxious to speak to you.
Do you realize, Vita, that it's been years since I've seen Elwood?
No, where does the time go?
I just don't understand it. I was saying to Mr. Chauvenet just the other night, what do you suppose has happened to Elwood Dow? He hasn't been to a club dance in ages, and I haven't seen him at a horse show in years. Is he seeing anyone these days?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel. Elwood sees somebody.
Oh, yes.
Your Uncle Elwood, my dear, is one of my favorite people, always has been.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Vita, is Elwood happy?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel. Elwood's very happy. You don't have to worry about Elwood. Oh, look, there's Mrs. Frank Cummings just came in. Don't you want to talk to her?
Doesn't she look ghastly? She's pale.
Oh, if you think she looks bad, then you should see him.
Oh, you don't say. I must have them over. Doesn't she look frightful? I thought she was dead. How about some tea?
Oh, certainly, if you'll forgive me, I'll see you.
Elwood, Elwood, Doug, bless your heart.
Aunt Ethel, what a pleasure it is to come in and find a beautiful woman waiting for me.
Oh, you haven't changed a bit, Elwood.
Come along, Aunt Ethel. You mustn't miss the
Yes,
party.
there's punch if you don't like tea.
But I do like tea. Stop pulling at me, Vita. Elwood, what night next week would you come to dinner?
Any night at all, Aunt Ethel, I would be delighted.
Elwood, some mail came for you today. I left it up in your room.
Oh, did you, Vita? That was nice of you. Aunt Ethel, I want you to meet Harvey. As you can see, he's a puka. Harvey, you've heard me speak of Mrs. Chauvenet. We always called her Aunt Ethel. She is one of my oldest and dearest friends. Yes, that's right. She's the one. This is the one. anywhere. Well, May, well, ladies, you all look lovely. Come on in with me, Harvey. We must say hello to our dear friends. Oh, I beg your pardon, Aunt Ethel.
What?
Will you excuse me for just one moment? You're standing in his way. You go on in, Harvey. I'll join you in a minute. Aunt Ethel, I can see you're disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares like that at everybody. It's his way. But he liked you. I could tell he liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps.
Why, no, I don't think so. Oh, mercy me, no. I think I must be running along.
But you haven't met anyone yet.
I'm so sorry.
I'll be talking to you very soon, Vita. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, God! Oh, my God!
Myrtle, where are you going?
Up to my room. He's in there introducing Harvey to everybody. I can't face those people now. I wish I were dead.
Come back, stay with me. We'll get him out of there and upstairs to his room.
I can't, I won't.
Myrtle, man. Now, come here. Now, just pretend I'm fixing your corsage.
Oh, Mother.
We've got to. Now, pretend we're having a gay little chat. You keep looking, and you let me know when you see him. He always comes when I call him. Did you see him yet?
No, not yet. Hello, Mrs. Cummings.
Smile, can't you? Have you no pride? I'm smiling. He's my own brother.
Oh, Mother, people get run over by trucks every day. Why can't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle May Simmons, I'm ashamed of you. This thing is not your uncle's fault.
Ouch! You were sticking me with that pin.
That's Miss Ellerby. Keep looking. Keep
Oh,
smiling.
Mrs. Cummings is leaving. You must have told her what Harvey is. Oh, God.
Hello. This is Mrs. Simmons. Should you come in the clothes you have on? What have you on? Who is this? But I don't know any Miss Grenwald. Should you what? May I ask who invited you? Mr. Dowd. Thank you just the same, but I believe there's been a mistake. Why, never.
Never what?
One of your Uncle Elwood's friends asked if she should bring a quart of gin to the Wednesday forum.
Oh, look! There he is. He's talking to Mrs. Halsey.
Oh, is Harvey with him?
Oh, what a thing to ask. How can I tell? How can anyone tell but Uncle Elwood?
Elwood, could I see you for a moment, dear? I promise you, your uncle has disgraced us for the last time in this house. I'm going to do something I have never done before.
What did you mean just now when you said it wasn't Uncle Elwood's fault? Whose fault is it?
Never you mind, I know whose fault it is. Now, you lift up your head. Smile. Go back in there as though nothing had happened.
Oh, you're no match for Uncle Elwood.
You'll see.
Mother's waiting for you.
Could I see you for a moment, dear?
Oh, yes, sister. Excuse me, Harvey.
Elwood, would you mind waiting in here until the party is over? I have to talk to you.
Oh.
It's very important.
Of course, sister. I happen to have a little free time, and you're welcome to all of it, Vita. Hmm? Do you want Harvey to wait, too?
Yes, Elwood, I certainly do.
Ah, Jane Austen. Vita wants to speak to us. Says it's important. I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party. Jane Austen. Oh. Deluxe edition, limited, Grosset and Dunlap. The usual acknowledgments. Chapter 1.
Mrs. O.R. Simmons, 343 Tubber Drive. Is that right?
We were born and raised there. It's old, but we love it. It's our home.
And you wish to enter your brother here at the sanitarium for treatment. Your brother's name?
Oh,
Mrs. Simmons, what is your brother's name?
I'm sorry. Life is not easy for any of us. I guess I'll just have to hold my head up and go on just the same. And that's what I keep telling Myrtle, and that's what Myrtle May keeps telling me. She's heartbroken about her Uncle Elwood. Elwood P. Dow, that's it.
Elwood P. Dow. His age?
47, the 28th of last April. He's Taurus. Taurus the bull, and I'm Leo, and Myrtle's on the cusp.
47. Is he married?
No, Elwood never married. He stayed home with Mother. He was a great homeboy. He loved his home.
Do you have him with you now?
I left him in a taxi cab down in the driveway. I gave the driver $1 to watch him. I didn't tell him why. You can't tell these things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, will you step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if he'd be good enough to step up to room number 24, South Wing G?
Ask him.
This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, how do? Why, certainly. I'd be pleased to escort him.
Thank you.
The rate's here, Mrs. Simmons. You'll find them printed on his card.
Oh, that won't be necessary. That'll all be taken care of by my mother's estate. The late Marcella Penny Down. Judge Gaffney is our attorney.
Now we'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see you.
Dr. Sanderson. Oh, I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Well, he's still head of this institution, isn't he? He's still a psychiatrist, isn't he?
Still a psychiatrist. Dr. Chumley is more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Whenever people have mental breakdowns, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, that's his office, isn't it? You march right in there and tell him I'm out here. When he knows who's here, he'll come right out.
I wouldn't dare disturb him, Mrs. Simmons. I would be discharged if I did.
But I don't like to be pushed off onto any second fiddle.
Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. He's young, of course, and he hasn't been out of medical school very long. But Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Dr. Sanderson. He's really wonderful. To the patients.
Very well. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Vita, isn't this wonderful? Mrs. Simmons?
Oh, dear, I didn't hear you come in. You startled me. You're Dr. Sanderson.
Yes, will you be seated, please?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I hope you don't think I'm jumpy like this all the time.
Of course not. Miss Kelly tells me you're concerned about your brother. Dowd, is it? Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, Oh, this isn't easy for me, Doctor.
Naturally, these things aren't easy for the families of patients. I understand.
Well, it's what Elwood's doing to himself, that's the thing. Now, Myrtle May has a right to nice friends. She's young. Her whole life is before her. And that's my daughter.
Your daughter. How long has it been since you began noticing any peculiarity in your brother's actions?
Oh, I noticed it right away after Mother died, and Myrtle May and I came back from Des Moines to stay with Elwood. I could see that he... Oh,
Becky, what? Take your time, Mrs. Simmons. Don't strain. Let it come. I'll wait for it.
everything I say to you is confidential, isn't it?
That's understood.
Because it's a slap in the face to everything I've stood for in this community, the way Elwood is acting now.
I'm not a gossip, Mrs. Simmons. I'm a psychiatrist.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Well, wouldn't you call it excess when a man never lets a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with riffraff, people you never heard of, inviting them to the house, playing cards with them, and giving them food and money. And here I am, trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people. Well, if that isn't excess, I'm sure I don't know what excess is.
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Yes, I say definitely Elwood drinks, and I want him committed out here permanently, because I cannot stand another day of that Harvey. Myrtle and I have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to move over on the sofa to make room for Harvey. We have to answer the telephone when Elwood calls and asks to speak to Harvey. Then, at the party this afternoon, with Mrs. Chauvenet there. Why, we never even knew anything about Harvey until we came back here. Doctor, don't you think it would have been a little bit kinder if others had written and told us about Harvey? Be honest now, don't you?
Well, I really couldn't answer that question because I don't...
Well, I can. Yes, it certainly would have.
This person you call Harvey, who is he?
He's a rabbit.
Perhaps, but just who is he? Some companion? Someone your brother has picked up in these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, I've been telling you, Harvey is a rabbit, a big white rabbit, 6 feet high, or is it 6.5? Heaven knows I ought to know. He's been around the house long enough.
Let me understand this. You say that your brother's closest...
Doctor, must I keep repeating myself? My brother thinks his closest friend is this big white rabbit. This rabbit's name is Harvey. Harvey lives with us. Don't you understand? He and Elwood go every place together. Elwood buys railroad tickets, theater tickets for the both of them. So I told Myrtle May, if your uncle is so lonesome, he has to bring something home. Why can't he bring home something human? He has me, doesn't he? He has Myrtle May, doesn't he? Doctor, I'm going to tell you something I have never told anyone before. Every once in a while, I see that big white rabbit myself. Isn't that terrible? I never even told that to Myrtle May.
Mrs. Simmons.
And what's more, he's every bit as big as Elwood says he is. Oh, Doctor, don't tell that to anybody. I'm ashamed of it.
I can see that you've been under a great nervous strain recently.
Oh, yes, I certainly have.
Grief over your mother's death depressed you considerably?
Oh, nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep?
Oh, how can anybody sleep with that going on?
Short-tempered over trifles?
You try living with a big white rabbit and see how long your temper holds up.
Loss of appetite?
How can anybody eat at a table with my brother and a big white rabbit? I'm finished. I'm going to sell the house and be appointed conservator of Elwood's estate. Then Myrtle May and I will be able to entertain our friends in peace. It's too much, Doctor. I can't stand it.
Of course, Mrs. Simmons. Of course it is. You're tired.
Oh, yes, I am.
You've been worrying a great deal.
Oh, I have. I can't help it.
And now I'm going to help you.
Oh, Doctor. Oh,
Just sit there a minute quietly, Mrs. Simmons. I'll be right back.
I'll just go down to the cab and get Elwood's things.
Why didn't anyone answer the buzzer?
I didn't hear you, Doctor.
I rang and rang. Mrs. Simmons. Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave the grounds.
She's made with a getaway, huh, Doc?
Her condition is serious. Go after her.
I can't believe it.
Main gate. Henry, Dr. Sanderson. Allow no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I never should have left her alone, but no one answered the buzzer.
Wilson wasn't south, Doctor.
What have we available, Miss Kelly?
Number 13, Upper West Star is ready, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately, and I will prescribe preliminary treatment. I must contact her brother. Dowd is his name. Elwood P. Dowd. Get him on the telephone, will you please?
But, Doctor, I didn't know it was a woman who needed treatment. She said it was for her brother.
Of course she did. It's the oldest dodge in the world, always used by a cunning type of psychopath. She apparently knew her brother was about to commit her, so she came out here to discredit him first. Now, get him on the telephone for me, will you please?
But, Doctor, I thought the woman was all right, so I had Wilson take her brother up to room number 24, South Wing G. He's there.
brother in? No gags now. Please, Kelly, you're not serious.
Oh, I did, Doctor, I did. Oh, Doctor, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, well then, if you're sorry, that fixes everything. Oh, no.
I'll do it, Doctor, I'll do it. Miss Dumpy, will you please unlock the door to room number 24 and give Mr. Dowd his clothes? And
Ask him to step down to the office right away.
ask him to step down to the office right away. There's been a terrible mistake and Dr. Sanderson wants to explain.
Explain. Apologize.
Thank heaven they hadn't put him in the hydro tub yet. She'll let him out.
Beautiful and dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Doctor, I feel terrible. I didn't know. When Judge Gaffney called and said Mrs. Simmons and her brother would be out here, and when she came in here, you don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't I? Stop worrying, Kelly. We'll squirm out of this some way.
Where are you going?
I've got to tell the chief about it. He may want to handle this himself.
He'll be furious. I know he will. He'll die, and then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility is all mine, Kelly.
Oh, no, Doctor, tell him it was my fault.
I never mention your name, except in my sleep.
But this man died.
Leave here, Kelly. I'll be right back.
But what shall I say to him? What shall I do? He'll be furious.
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied, but he's a man, isn't he?
I guess so. His name's Mr.
Go into your old routine. You know, the eyes, the swish, the works. I'm immune, but I've seen it work on some people. Some of the patients out here. Keep him here, Kelly, if you have to do a striptease.
Well, oh, you're wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I ever met in my life.
Yeah?
What?
But how about giving me a lift here, just the same, at Simmons' name?
Did you catch her?
Slick as a whistle. She's coming down the path, humming a little tune, and I jumped out at her behind the tree. I says, "Sister, there's a man wants to see you." You should have heard her yell. She cracked me all right.
Take her to number 13, not the rest
Oh,
out.
she's there now. I brought her into the diet kitchen. She was screaming and kicking like hell. I'll hold her. Come on and undress her.
Just a second, Wilson. Dr. Sanderson told me to wait here until her brother comes down.
Make it snappy.
You're Mr. Dowd?
Elwood P.
I'm Miss Kelly.
Oh, let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one. That's the old one.
Thank you.
Perfectly all right. And if you lose it, don't worry, my dear. I have plenty more.
Won't you have a chair, please, Mr. Dowd?
Thank you. I'll have two. Allow me.
Dr. Sanderson is very anxious to talk with you. He'll be here in a minute. Please, be seated.
Oh, after you, Miss Kelly.
Oh, I really can't. I'm in and out all the time, but you mustn't mind me. Please sit down.
After you.
Could I get you a magazine to look at?
I would much rather look at you, Miss Kelly, if you don't mind. You really are very lovely.
Oh, well, thank you. Some people don't seem to think so.
Some people are blind. That is often brought to my attention. And now, Miss Kelly, I would like to have you meet a very dear friend of mine.
Mr. Dowd?
Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. If you
Mr.
should...
Dowd, I'm Dr. Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Chumley's assistant out here.
Well, good for you, Doctor. I'm happy to know that. How are you, Doctor?
That's going to depend on you, I'm afraid. Please, sit down.
After you, Miss Kelly.
Sit down, Kelly. Is that chair quite comfortable, Mr. Dowd?
Why, yes, thank you. Would you care to try it?
No? Thank you. How about an ashtray? Could we give Mr. Dowd an ashtray? Is it too warm in here for you, Mr. Dowd? Would you like me to open a window?
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson would like to know if he should open a window.
Well, that's entirely up to him. I wouldn't presume to live his life for him.
Now then, Mr. Dowd, I can see that you're not the type of person to be taken in by any high-flown phrases or beating about the bush.
Is that so, Doctor?
Fact is, you have us in an advantage here. You know it, we know it. Let's lay the cards on the table.
Well, that certainly appeals to me, Doctor.
Best way in the long run. People are people, no matter where you go.
That is very often the case.
And being human are therefore liable to make mistakes. Miss Kelly and I have made a mistake here this afternoon, Mr. Dowd, and we'd like to explain it to you.
It wasn't Dr. Sanderson's fault, Mr. Dowd. It was mine.
I find that very interesting, nevertheless. You and Miss Kelly here, this afternoon, you say?
We do hope you'll understand.
Well, yes, yes. Oh, these things are often the basis of a long and warm friendship.
And the responsibility is, of course, not hers, but mine.
Your attitude may be old-fashioned, Doctor, but I like it.
Now, if I had seen your sister first, that would have been an entirely different story.
Now there you surprised me. I certainly think the world and all of Vita, but I had supposed she had seen her day.
You must not attach any blame to her. She's a very sick woman. Came in here insisting you were in need of treatment. That's perfectly ridiculous.
Oh, Vita shouldn't get upset about me. I get along fine.
Exactly. But your sister had already talked to Miss Kelly here, and there had been a call from your family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Oh, yes, I know him. Know his wife, too. Nice people.
Is there something I can get for you, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, now what did you have in mind?
Never mind. Your sister was extremely nervous and plunged right away into a heated tirade on your drinking.
Well, that was Vita.
She became hysterical.
I tell Vita not to worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Exactly. Oh, I suppose you take a drink every now and then, the same as the rest of us do.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I would like one right now.
Matter of fact, so would I. But your sister's reaction to the whole matter of drinking was entirely too intense. Tell me, Mr. Dowd, does your sister drink?
Oh, no, Doctor, no. I don't believe Vita has ever taken a drink.
Well, I'm going to surprise you then. I believe she has, and does, constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not her alcoholism that's going to be the basis of my diagnosis of her case. It's much more serious than that. It was when she began talking so emotionally about this big white rabbit, Harvey. Yes, I believe she called him Harvey.
Yes, Harvey is his name.
She claimed you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
Oh, I'm not persecuting her with Harvey. Vita shouldn't feel that way. And now, Doctor, before we go any further, I must insist you allow me to introduce you.
Mr. Dowd, let me make my point first. This condition of your sister's did not spring up overnight. It stems from trauma.
From what?
From trauma, spelled T-R-A-U-M-A. Nothing unusual about it. It means shock. There's the birth trauma, the shock of the act of being born.
Well, that's the one we never get over, Doctor.
You have a nice sense of humor, Mr. Dowd. Hasn't he, Miss Kelly?
Yes, Doctor.
Well, may I say the same about both of you?
To sum it all up, your sister's condition is serious, but I can help her. She must, however, remain out here temporarily.
I've always wanted Vita to have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want Vita to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay out here.
Of course. Did Wilson get what he went after?
Yes, Doctor.
What was Mrs. Simmons' attitude, Miss Kelly?
Not unusual, Doctor.
Mr. Dowd, if this were an ordinary delusion, something reflected on the memory picture, in other words, if she were seeing something that she had seen once, that would be one thing. But this is much more serious. It stands to reason no one's ever seen a white rabbit 6 feet high.
Not very often, Doctor.
I like you, Dowd.
Oh, thank you, Doctor, and I like you too, and Miss Kelly here. I like her also.
So your sister must be committed out here temporarily. Under these circumstances, I would commit my own grandmother.
What, does your grandmother drink too?
It's just an expression. Now, will you sign these temporary commitment papers as next of kin?
Oh, you'd better have Vita do that, Doctor. Vita does all the signing and managing for the family. She's good at it.
We can't disturb her now.
Well, perhaps I better talk it over with Judge Gaffney.
You can explain it all to him later. Tell him I advised him. And it isn't as if you couldn't drop in here any time and make inquiries. Glad to have you. I'll make out a full visitor's pass for you. When would you like to come back? Wednesday? Say Friday.
Well, if you and Miss Kelly have been so pleasant, I can come back right after dinner, about an hour.
Well, we're pretty busy around here, but I guess that'll be all right.
I don't really have to go right now. I'm not very hungry.
Delighted to have you stay, but we have to get on upstairs now. Plenty to do. But I tell you what you might like to do.
What might I like to do?
We don't usually do this sort of thing, but just to make sure in your mind your sister's in good hands, why don't you look around here? If you go through that door and turn right just beyond the stairway, down the hall you'll find the occupational therapy room. Beyond that, the conservatory, the library, and the diet kitchen.
For Vita's sake, I believe I'd better do that, Doctor.
Very well then. It's been a pleasure to have this little talk with you, Mr. Dowd.
Well, I've enjoyed it too, Doctor, meeting you and Miss Kelly.
And I will say that for a layman, you show an unusually acute perception in psychiatric problems.
Is that a fact, Doctor? Doctor, I never thought I knew anything about that. Nobody does, do you think?
Well, the good psychiatrist is not found under every bush.
You have to pick the right bush. Now, seeing we have spent such a wonderful time here, I would like to continue right on. I want to invite you both to come with me now down to Charlie's place for a drink. When I enjoy people, I want to keep right on going with them.
Sorry, we're on duty now. Some other time be glad to. Give us a rain check.
When?
Well, I can't say right now. Miss Kelly and I are on duty until 10 o'clock at night.
We'll go to Charlie's place at 10 o'clock.
Well,
And you, Miss Kelly?
Dr. Chumley doesn't approve of members of the staff fraternizing, but since you've been so understanding, perhaps we could manage it.
I'll pick you up out here in a taxi cab at 10 o'clock tonight, and the four of us will spend a happy evening together. I want you both to become very good friends with a good friend of mine. You said later on, so later on it will be. Goodbye now.
Whew, now I can breathe again.
Boy, that was a close shave, all right. But he seemed to be a pretty reasonable sort of fellow. That man is proud. What he has to be proud of, I don't know. I played up to that pride. You can get to almost anyone if you want to. Now, I must look in on that Simmons woman.
Dr. Sanderson, you say you can get to anybody if you want to. How can you do that?
Take study, Kelly. Years of specialized training. There's only one thing I don't like about this Dow business.
What's that?
Having to make that date with him. Of course, the man has left here as a good friend and booster of this sanitarium, so I guess I'll have to go with him. But you don't have to go.
Oh.
No point in it. I'll have a drink with him, pat him on the back, and leave. I have a date tonight anyway.
Oh, well, by all means. I didn't intend to go anyway. The idea bored me stiff. I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my whole life depended on it.
What's the matter with you, Kelly? What are you getting so emotional about?
He may be a peculiar man with funny clothes, but he knows how to act. His manners were perfect.
I saw you giving him the Dalpuss stare. I didn't miss that.
He wouldn't sit down till I sat down. He said I was lovely, and he called me dear. I'd go have a drink with him if you were going.
Sure you would. And look at him. He doesn't work. All he does is hang around bars. All that corny bowing and getting up out of his chair every time a woman makes a move. Why, he's as outdated as a cast iron deer. But you go sit in a bar with him and let him flatter you. You're a wonderful girl, Kelly.
Now, let me tell you something, Doctor.
Dr. Sanderson, Miss Kelly.
Yes,
Yes,
Doctor.
Doctor.
Tell the gardener to prune more carefully around my prize dahlias along the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for cutting next week.
Yes, Doctor.
The difficulty of the woman with the big white rabbit, has it been smoothed over?
Yes, Doctor. I spoke to her brother, and he was quite reasonable.
Well, I've had many patients out here who saw animals. I've never before had a patient with an animal that large.
Yet, Doctor, she called him Harvey.
Harvey? Unusual name for an animal of any kind. Harvey is a man's name. I've known several men in my day named Harvey, but I've never heard of any type of animal whatsoever for that name. This case has an interesting phase, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
I'll now go upstairs with you and we'll look in on this woman. It may be that we could use my formula 977 on her. I will give you my advice in prescribing the treatment, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
And now, may I ask, whose hat and coat is that on the window seat? What's it doing there?
I don't know, Doctor. Do you know, Miss Kelly? Was it Dowd's?
He had his hat on. Perhaps he belongs to a relative of one of the patients.
Hand me the hat. There may be some kind of identification. Here, what's this? See? Some new fad. Put them away. Hang them up. Get them out of here.
Hello, Dr. Chumley.
Oh, there you are.
How is every little thing?
Fair, thank you, Wilson. Fair.
Look, someone's got to give me a hand with this Simmons dame. Order a restraining jacket or something. She's impossible. You forgot about me, didn't you? Well, I got her corset off all by myself.
We're going upstairs now to see this patient, Wilson.
Oh, she's in the hydro tub now. Oh, my God. I left the water running on her.
Willie! Oh, Willie!
Hello, Dr. Sanderson. Well, you haven't forgotten Dr. McClure's cocktail party. We promised them faithfully.
Oh, that's right. I've got to go upstairs now and look in on a patient. Be down shortly.
Give a little quick diagnosis, Willie. We don't want to be late to the party. Dying to see the inside of that house. Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Mrs. Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
Dowd is my name, Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. Now, if you should want to call me at this one. Don't call me at that one because that's the old one.
Thank you. Is there something I can do for you?
What did you have in mind?
I'll see if you're looking for someone.
Yes, I am. I'm looking for Harvey. I went off without him.
Harvey. Is he a patient here?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Does he work here?
Oh, no. He is what you might call my best friend. He is also a boot guy. He came out here with me and Vita this afternoon.
Where was he when you last saw him?
In this chair here, with a satin coat on the window seat.
There doesn't seem to be any hat and coat here now. Perhaps he left.
Apparently, I don't see him anywhere.
Oh, what was that word you just said? Hookah?
Yes, that's it.
Is that something new?
Oh, no. As I understand it, that's something very old.
Oh, really? I hadn't happened to hear it before.
Well, I'm not too surprised at that. I hadn't myself until I met him. I do hope you get the opportunity to meet him, Mrs. Chumley. I'm sure he would be quite taken with you.
Oh, really? Well, that's very nice of you to say so, I'm sure.
Oh, not at all. If Harvey happens to take a liking to people, he expresses himself quite definitely. If he's not particularly interested, he sits there like an empty chair or an empty space on the floor. Harvey takes his time making up his mind about people. Choosy, you see.
That's not such a bad way to be in this day and age, Mr. Dowd.
Harvey is fond of my sister Vita. That's because he is fond of me. And Vita and I come from the same family. Now, you'd think that feeling would be mutual. But Vita doesn't seem to care for Harvey. Now, don't you think that's rather too bad, Mrs. Chumley?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I gave up a long time ago expecting my family to like my friends. It's useless.
Oh, but we must keep on trying.
Well, there's no harm in trying, I suppose.
Because if Harvey has said to me once, he said 1,000,000 times, Mr. Dowd, I would do anything for you. Mrs. Chumley,
Yes?
did you know that Mrs. McElhenney's Aunt Rose is going to drop in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland?
Why, no, I didn't.
Neither does she. Now, that puts you both in the same boat, doesn't it?
But I don't know anyone named Mrs.
Mrs. McElhenney, she lives next door to us. She is a wonderful woman. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. Now, that's a very interesting little news item, and you are perfectly free to pass it around. Mrs. Chumley, would you care to come on downtown with me now? I would be glad to buy you a drink.
Thank you, but I'm waiting for Dr. Chumley. And if he came down and found me gone, he'd be liable to raise that. He would be irritated.
We wouldn't want that, would we? Some other time, maybe.
I'll tell you what I'll do, however.
What will you do, however? I'm interested.
If your friend comes in while I'm here, I'd be glad to give him a message for you.
Would you do that for me? I certainly would appreciate that.
No trouble at all. I'll write it on the back of this card. What would you like me to say to your friend if he comes in while I'm still here?
Ask him to meet me downtown, if he has no other plans.
Meet Mr. Dowd downtown. Any particular place downtown?
Oh, he knows where. Harvey knows this town like a book.
Harvey, you know where. Harvey what?
Oh, just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Doctor and I are going right downtown to 12th and Montview. Dr. McClure is having a cocktail party.
A cocktail party at 12th and Montview.
We're driving there in a few minutes. We could give your friend a lift into town.
Oh, I hate to impose on you, but I certainly would appreciate that.
No trouble at all. Dr. McClure is having a cocktail party for his sister from Wichita.
I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
Oh, you know Dr. McClure.
No. You're quite sure you haven't got time to come into town with me now and have a drink?
I really couldn't, but thank you just the same.
Some other time, perhaps?
Thank you.
Well, it certainly has been pleasant meeting you, Mrs. Chumley, and I hope to see you again.
Yes, so do I.
Goodbye, my dear. You can't miss Harvey. He's very tall, like that.
That Simmons woman is uncooperative, Doctor. Refuses to admit she has this big rabbit. Insists it's her brother. Give her 2 of these at 9, and another at 10 if she continues to be so restless. Another trip to the hydro room at 8, and again in the morning at 7. Then we'll see if she won't cooperate tomorrow, won't we, Doctor?
Yes, doctor.
You know where to call me if you need me. Ready, Pat?
Yes, Willie. And no, Willie,
Yes?
there was a man here, a man named, let me see. Here's his card. Dowd. Elwood P. Dowd.
That's Mrs. Simmons' brother, doctor. I gave him full visiting privileges and told him he could look around.
Oh, she mustn't see anyone tonight. Not anyone at all. Tell him that.
He didn't ask to see her. He was looking for someone, some friend of his.
Who could that be, Dr. Sanderson?
I don't know, doctor.
He said it was somebody he came out here with this afternoon.
Was there anyone with Dow when you saw him, Miss Kelly?
No, doctor, not when I saw him. Well, he said there was. He said when he last saw his friend, he was sitting right in that chair with his hat and coat right there. He seemed quite disappointed. Dr. Sanderson, I told him if we located his friend, we'd give him a lift into town. He could ride in the back seat. Was that all right, Willie?
Of course, of course.
Oh, here it is. I wrote it on the back of this card. His friend's name was Harvey. Harvey? He didn't give me his last name. He mentioned something else about him. Hookah. But I didn't quite get what that was.
Harvey?
He said his friend was very tall. Well, why are you looking at me like that, Willie? This man was a very nice, polite man. And he merely asked that we give his friend a lift into town. And if we can't do a favor for someone, well, why are we living?
Where? Where did he go, Mrs. Chumley? How long ago was he here?
Get me that hat. By George, we'll find out about
I
this.
don't know. Just a second ago.
Gaffney. Judge Gaffney.
Main gate. Henry, did a man in a brown suit go out through the gate a minute ago? He did? He's gone.
Judge Gaffney, this is Dr. William Chumley, the psychiatrist. I'm making a routine checkup on the spelling of a name before entering into our records. Judge, you telephoned out here this afternoon about having a client of yours committed. How is that name spelled? With a W, not a U. Elwood P. Dowd. Thank you, Judge. Dr. Sanderson, I believe your name is Sanderson.
Yes, doctor.
You know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went forth. Perhaps I neglected to tell you that a rabbit has large pointed ears, and that a half-hour rat would have to be perforated to make room for those ears.
Dowd seemed reasonable enough this afternoon, doctor.
Doctor, the function of a psychiatrist is to tell the difference between those who are reasonable and those who merely talk and act reasonably. Do you realize what you have done to me? You don't answer. Well, I'll tell you. You have permitted a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds and roam around with an overgrown white rabbit. You have subjected me, a psychiatrist, to the humiliation of having to call, of all things, a lawyer to find out who came out here to be committed and who came out here to commit. Now, Wilson, I want you.
I want to explain.
I will now have to do something I haven't done in 15 years. I will have to go out and look for this patient, Elwood P. Dowd, and I will have to bring him in. And when I do bring him in, your connection with this institution is ended as of that moment. Wilson, get the car. Pat, call the stores and tell them we won't be able to make it. Miss Kelly, come upstairs with me. We'll get that woman out of the tub.
Yes, doctor. I'll have to tell the cook we'll be home for dinner. She'll be furious. Wilson,
Yes, ma'am?
what is a puka?
What?
A puka.
Search me, Mrs. Chumley.
I wonder if it's in the encyclopedia. They have everything in there. I wonder if it's a lodge or what it is. Ugh, I don't dare take the time to do this now. Doctor won't want to find me still here when he comes down. He'll be liable to raise that. I mean, oh dear.
P-O-O-K-A. Puka. From spirit in animal form, always very large. The puka appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that one at his own caprice. This wise but mischievous spirit is very fond of rum pots, crack pots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? Well, who in the encyclopedia wants to know? To hell with it.
Yes, that's right. The stairs to the end of the hall. Then go up to the third floor. Go right up. I'll be with you in a minute.
Well, where is she?
Where is who, Judge? Who do you mean? Won't you sit down?
I mean your mother. Where's Vita Louise?
Why, Judge, you know where she is. She went out to Chumley's Rest to put Uncle Elwood in.
I know that. But why did she call me at the club with a lot of a stare? Couldn't even get what she was talking about. Carrying on something fierce.
Mother, carrying on. What about?
I don't know. She was hysterical.
That's strange. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium. All she had to do was put him in. Did you find it? Oh, good. I'll be right up. They found it.
Who? Found what? What are you talking about?
Well, this afternoon, I went out. When Mother went out to the sanitarium, I went to the real estate office and put the house on the market. And guess what I found there?
I'm not a quiz kid.
Well, I found a man who's looking for an old house, just like this one, put up in the buffet apartment. He's going through it now.
Now, see here, Myrtle May. This house doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your Uncle Elwood.
Yes, but now that Uncle Elwood's locked up, Mother controls the property, doesn't she?
Where is your mother? Where is Vita Louise?
Judge, she went out to Chumley's Rest to tell them about Harvey and to put Uncle Elwood in.
But why did she call me at the club while I was in the middle of a game and scream at me to meet her here about something important?
I don't know. I simply don't know. Do you have the deed to this house?
Certainly. It's in my safe. Myrtle, I feel pretty bad about this thing of locking Elwood out.
I think Mother and I will take a long trip now, out to Pasadena.
I always liked that boy. He had everything. He could have done anything, made a place for himself in this community.
And all he did was get a big racket.
He had everything. Brains, personality, friends. Men liked him. Women liked him. I liked him.
Are you telling me that once Uncle Elwood was like other men, that women actually liked him? I mean, in that way?
Oh, they did once. Before he started seeing that big rabbit. But there was always something strange about Elwood.
I don't doubt that.
There was always something different about him. He took everything so calmly. Take your average man looking up and seeing a big white rabbit. He'd do something about it, but not Elwood. And look where it got him.
Oh, you don't believe how far overboard he's gone with this rabbit.
Oh, yes, I do. He's had that rabbit in my office many a time. I'm old, but I don't miss much. Vita Louise, what's wrong, girl?
Oh, I never thought I'd see either of you again.
Take hold of her, Judge. She looks as though she's going to faint. Now, Mother, you're all right. You're perfectly all right.
Steady, girl, steady.
Oh, please not so fast.
Don't rush her. Don't ease her in.
Oh, let me sit down. Give me some place where I can sit down.
Here you are,
get my breath.
Let her get her breath, child.
Oh, just let me sit here a minute. Then I want to get up to my own room where I can let go.
What happened, Mother?
Oh, Ma, I want you to soothe them. They put me in and let Elwood out.
What's this?
Oh, just look at my hair.
Well, what did you say? What did you do? You must have done something.
Oh, I did do one thing. I simply told them about Elwood and Harvey.
But how could this happen to you? I just don't understand it.
I told them about Elwood. Then I went down to the cab to get his things. As I was walking along the path, this awful man stepped out. He was a white slaver. I know he was. White coats. That's how they advertise.
A man, Mother? What did he do?
What did he do? He took me in there, and then he hooked.
Go on, Peter Louise. Go on, girl.
Poor Mother. Was he a young man?
Myrtle May, perhaps you better leave the room.
I should say not. Go on, Mother.
What did he do, Peter?
He took me upstairs and tore my clothes off.
Hear that? Go
My
on, Mother.
God, I'll sue them for this.
Then he set me down in a tub of water.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
I always thought that what you were showed on your face. Don't you believe it, Judge? Don't you believe it, Myrtle? This man took hold of me like a woman in the streets. But I fought. I always said that if a man ever jumped at me, I'd fight. Haven't I always said that, Myrtle?
Yes, Judge, that's what Mother's always said. That's what she's always told me to do.
Then he hustled me into that sanitarium, set me in that tub of water, and started treating me like I was,
A what?
a crazy woman. But he did that just for spite.
Well, I'll be damned.
And those doctors, they came upstairs and asked me a lot of questions, all about sex urges and all that filthy stuff. That place ought to be cleaned up, Omar. You ought to get the authorities out there and clean it up. Don't you ever go there, remember, you hear me?
This stinks to high heaven, Peter. By God, it stinks.
Judge, you've got to do something. You've got to sue them.
I will, girl. By God, I will. If Chevy thinks he can run an unsavory place like this on the outskirts of town and be publicly chastised, by God, I'll run him out of the state.
Tell me, Judge, is that all those people do at places like that? Think about sex?
I don't know.
Because if it is, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's all in their heads anyway. Why don't they all go out and take long walks in the fresh air? Judge Gaffney walked everywhere for years, didn't you, Judge?
The thing for me to do is take some notes. Now, you said these doctors came up to talk to you, Dr. Chumley. And what was that other doctor's name?
Sanderson. But don't you believe anything he tells you, Judge? He's a liar. Close-set eyes. They're always liars. I told him something in strictest confidence, and he blabbed it.
What did you tell him, Mother?
Oh, what difference does it make? Let's forget it. I don't want to talk about it. You can't trust anybody.
Whatever you told this Dr. Sanderson, you can tell us, Peter. This is your daughter, and I am your lawyer.
I know which is which. I don't want to talk about it. I want to sue them, and I want to get up to my own bed.
But Mother, the important thing anyway, where is Uncle Elwood?
I should have known better than to do anything about him. Something protects him. That awful puka.
Where's he?
How should I know? They let him go. They're not interested in men at places like that. Don't act so naive, Myrtle May. What's that noise?
I found a buyer for the house.
What?
Look, Mother, no matter who jumped out at you out there, we still have to find Uncle Elwood and lock him up.
I don't know where he is. Next time you take him, Judge. Wait till Elwood hears what they did to me. He won't stand for it. Myrtle May, all I can say is that I hope never, never, as long as you live, a man pulls the clothes off you and dumps you into a tub of water.
Now see, Mother knocked everything. No matter what happened out there, Uncle Elwood's still wandering around with Harvey.
Well, the thing for me to do is take some more notes.
It's all Uncle Elwood's fault. He found out what she was up to, then he had her put in, and then he ran.
Oh, don't talk like that. Your uncle thought the world and all of your mother. Why, ever since he was a little boy, he always wanted to share everything he had with her.
I'm not giving up. I'll get detectives. I'll find him. And besides, you better save some of that sympathy for me and Mother. You have no idea what we have to put up with. Wait till I show you something he brought home about 6 months ago and hid in the garage. showed you.
I'm going up to talk to Vita. There's more to this than she's telling. I sense that.
Wait till I show you, Judge.
All right, I'll wait.
Okay, is he here?
What's this? That crock pot with the rabbit. No. Here? And who may I ask are you?
He's not here, Doctor.
Coming in anyway.
Okay, Dr. Chumley's coming in anyway. What's your name?
Chumley. Well, I've got something to say to him.
What's your name? Let's have it.
I'm Dr. Judge Gaffney. Where's Chumley?
Well, the reason I asked your name is because the doctor always wants to know who he's talking to. Doctor, this guy says his name is Judge Gaffney.
Well, Chumley.
Good evening, Judge. Let's not waste time. Has he been here?
No. Elwood? But see here, Doctor.
Sure he ain't been here? He's wise now. He's hiding. It'd be an awful job to smoke him out.
It'll be more difficult, but I'll do it. They're sly, they're cunning, but I get them. I always get them. Have you got a list of the places we've been to, Wilson?
Right here, Doctor.
Read it.
We've been to 17 bars. Eddie's Place, Charlie's Place, Bessie's Barn Dance, the 4th Avenue Firehouse, and the 10th, 12th, and 9th Avenue Firehouses, just to be sure. The Union Station, the grain elevator. So why does this guy go to a grain elevator anyway?
The foreman is a friend of his. He has many friends in many places.
The reason I stopped by here is to ask Mrs. Simmons if she has any other suggestions as to where we might look for you.
Dr. Chumley, I hate to inform you that Mrs. Simmons has retained me to file suit against you.
What?
For what happened to her in the sanitarium this afternoon.
A suit?
And while we're on that subject,
Ain't that pretty, Doctor? After us dragging your tail all over town trying to find this guy.
What happened this afternoon was an unfortunate mistake, and I've discharged my assistant who made it. I'm prepared to take charge of this man's case personally. It interests me. My interest in the case is something that no amount of money can buy. You can ask any of them.
but this business this afternoon, Doctor.
Water under the dam. This is how I see this thing. I see it this way. The important item now is to take this man and out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
That's exactly what I think, Judge.
May I introduce Miss Myrtle May Simmons, Mr. Dowell's niece, Mrs. Simmons' daughter, Dr. Chumley.
How do you do, Judge?
How do you do?
Hello, Myrtle May.
Oh,
And now, if I may talk to Mrs. Simmons?
oh, I'm sorry, Doctor, but Mother won't come down. Judge, you try and get Mother to talk to him.
But see here, your mother was manhandled. She was. God knows what she was. This man's approach to her was not professional. Personal.
Wilson, this is a serious charge.
Dr. Chumley, I've been with you for 10 years. Are you going to take the... What's your name again?
Gaffney. Omar Gaffney.
Thanks. Take the word of this old blister Daphne.
Wilson!
Me and a dame who sees a rabbit.
It's not Mrs. Simmons who sees the rabbit, it's her brother.
Yes, it's Uncle Elwood.
If you come with me, Doctor.
Very well, Judge. Wilson, I have a situation here. Wait for me.
Yes, Doctor. So, your name's Myrtle May.
Yes.
If we grab your uncle, you'll have to come down to the sanitarium on visiting days?
I don't know. I really hadn't
Well,
thought
if
about
you do, I'll be there.
it. Oh, you will?
And if you don't see me right away, don't give up. Stick around. I'll show up.
You will?
Sure. You heard Dr. Chumley tell me to wait?
Yes?
I'll tell you something. While I'm waiting, I sure could use a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Oh, certainly. If you forgive me, I'll precede you into the kitchen.
Yes, sir. You're all right, Myrtle May.
What?
Dr. Chumley noticed it right away. You don't miss a trick. I'll tell you something else, Myrtle.
What?
You not only got a nice build, you got something else, too.
What?
You got the screwiest uncle who ever stuck his puss inside our nut.
Hello, Chumley's Rest. Is Dr. Chumley there? Oh, it's Mrs. Chumley. This is Elwood B. Dowd speaking. How are you tonight? Oh, tell me, Mrs. Chumley, have you been able to locate Harvey? Now, don't you worry about it. I'll find him. I'm sorry I missed you at the McClure cocktail party. quite a few of my cards. I waited until you phoned and said you couldn't come because a patient had escaped. Where am I? Well, I'm here. But I'm leaving right away. I must find Harvey. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Chumley. My regards to you and anybody else you happen to run into. Goodbye.
Doctor, you might as well go home and wait. I'm suing you for $50,000, and that's final.
Mrs. Simmons,
Yes? Well, all right.
this picture over your mantel.
That portrait happens to be the pride of this house.
Who painted it?
Oh, some man, I forget his name. He came for the sittings, and we paid him, and he went away. Yes? No, this is Dexter 1567.
I suppose if you had the money to pay people, you could persuade them to do it.
Well, Dr. Chumley, what did I say to you this afternoon at your place?
You expressed yourself. I don't remember the exact words.
I said, Dr. Chumley, this is a belated civility. Isn't that what I said?
You said something of the sort.
Well, you brought this up. You might as well learn something quick. I took a course in art this last winter. The difference between a fine oil painting and a mechanical thing like a photograph is simply this. A photograph shows only the reality. A painting shows not only the reality, but the dream behind it. It's our dreams that keep us going, that separate us from the beast. Why, I wouldn't even want to live if I thought it were all just eating and sleeping and taking off my clothes, while putting them back. Oh, doctor!
Now, steady. Everything's all right. Get excited. No, what's the matter?
Doctor, that is not my mother.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that.
Elwood has been here. He's been here.
Better be quiet. I'll get that. Hello? Yes? Yes? Who's calling? Here he is, Mrs. Simmons. He's your brother.
Oh, let me talk to him.
Don't tell him I'm here. Be casual.
Hello, Elwood. Where are you? What? Oh, just a minute. He won't tell me where he is. He wants to know if Harvey is here.
Tell him Harvey is here.
But he isn't.
Tell him. That'll bring him over here, perhaps. Humor him. We have to humor him.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear, Harvey is here. Why don't you come home? Oh. Uh-oh. All right. It won't work. He wants me to call Harvey to the telephone.
Say Harvey is here, but he can't come to the telephone. Say he's in the bathtub.
The bathtub.
Say he's in the bathtub, and you'll send him over there. That way we'll find out where he is.
Oh, doctor.
Now you've got to do it, Mrs. Simmons.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear, Harvey is here, but he can't come to the telephone. He's in the bathtub. I'll send him over as soon as he's dry. Where are you? Where, Elwood?
Did he hang up?
Harvey just walked in the door. We told him to put in the bathtub. It must be a stranger. I know where he is. He's at Charlie's place. That's a bar over 12th and Main.
12th and Main. That's 2 blocks down and 1 over, isn't it?
Doctor, where are you going?
I'm going over there and take your brother out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Oh, no, Dr. Chumley, don't do that. Send one of your attendants. I'm warning you.
But if I have to help you.
Oh, nobody can help him. He can't be helped. You ought to be picked up and locked up and left.
You consider your brother a dangerous man?
Dangerous?
But why?
I won't tell you why, but if I didn't, why would I be asking for a permanent commitment for him?
And I must observe this the expression on his face as he talks to this rabbit. He does talk to the rabbit, you say.
Oh, they tell each other everything.
What's that?
I said, of course, he talks to him, but don't you go after him. You'll regret it if you do.
Nonsense, Mrs. Simmons. You underestimate him.
Oh, no, you underestimate my brother.
Not at all. Don't worry now. I can handle him.
You can handle him. That's what you think. Myrtle May, see who's in the bathtub?
your room, Doctor, upstairs.
All packed. Thanks, Wilson.
Yeah, tops are getting bounced. I had you peg this one to make the grade.
Those are the breaks.
When you taking off?
As soon as Dr. Chumley gets back.
Have you heard from the desk sergeant yet at the Police Accident Bureau?
Not yet. I just talked to the downtown dispensary. They haven't seen him.
Starting to smell awful funny to me. 4 hours he's been gone and not a word from him. Well, Doctor, may not see you again, so I want to say I wish you a lot of luck. I'm really sorry you got a kick in the act, Frank.
Thanks, Wilson. Good luck to you, too.
Look, Kelly, let me know when you hear from him again. If there's no sign of the doctor, go into the town to look for him. He should know better to go after a psycho without me.
I'd like to help look for the doctor, too, Wilson.
What, swell you, Doctor, after you give me the brush.
I've no resentments against Dr. Chumley. He was right, I was wrong. Chumley's the biggest man in his field. It's my loss not to be able to work with him.
You're not so small yourself, Doctor.
Thanks, Wilson.
Don't mention it.
Dr. Sanderson?
Yes?
Well, Doctor, I'd like to say that I wish you a lot of luck too, and I'm sorry to see you leave.
Are you sure you can spare these good wishes, Miss Kelly?
On second thought, I guess I can't. Forget it.
Miss Kelly, this is for nothing. Just a little advice. I'd be careful if I were you about the kind of company I kept.
I beg your pardon, Doctor?
You don't have to. I told you it was free. I saw you Saturday night dancing with that drip in the Rose Room down at the Frontier Hotel.
Oh, did you? I didn't notice you.
I'd be careful of him, Kelly. He looked to me like a schizophrenic, all the way across the floor.
You really shouldn't have given him a second thought, Doctor. He was my date, not yours.
That was his mentality. As for the rest of him, well...
But she was beautiful, though.
Who?
The girl you were with.
I thought you didn't notice.
You bumped into us twice. How could I help it?
Not that it makes any difference to you, but that girl is a charming little lady. She has a sweet, kind disposition, and she knows how to conduct herself.
Funny, she couldn't rate a better date on Saturday night.
And she has an excellent mind.
Why doesn't she use it?
Well, I don't suppose you're to be censored for the flippant hard shell you have. You're probably compensating for something.
I am not, and don't you use any of your psychiatry on me.
Well, if I could try something else, just once, just to see if you'd melt under any circumstances. I doubt it.
You'll never know, Doctor.
Because you interest me as a case history, that's all. I'd like to know where you get that inflated ego.
Well, you aren't the meanest person. Inflated ego. Case history.
Don't run away. Let's finish it.
Oh, leave me alone.
Gladly.
Chumley's Rest. No accident reports either in town or in the suburbs? Look, Sergeant, maybe we better start. Oh, never mind, Sergeant. They're here now. Mr. Dowd.
Good evening, my dear. These are for you.
Thank you.
They're quite fresh, too. I just picked them out now.
Oh, Dr. Chumley didn't see you. They're his prize dahlias. Did he go upstairs?
Oh, not knowing, I cannot state. Those colors look lovely against your hair.
Oh, I never wore burnt orange before. It's such a trying color.
You would improve any color, my dear.
Oh, well, thank you. Did Dr. Chumley go over to his house?
I don't know. Where is Dr. Sanders?
In his office there, I think.
Well, thank you.
Dowd, there you are.
I have a cab waiting outside. If you and Miss Kelly can get away now.
Where's Dr. Chumley?
Is he coming with us? That's nice.
I don't know, Doctor.
Oh, I must apologize for being a few seconds late. But I thought Miss Kelly should have some flowers. After what happened out here this afternoon, they really should be from you, Doctor. As you grow older and pretty women pass you by, you will think with deep gratitude of these generous girls of your youth. Shall we go now?
Just a minute, Dowd. The situation has changed since we met this afternoon, but I urge you to have no resentment. Dr. Chumley is your friend. He only wants to help you.
That's very nice of him. I would like to help him, too.
If you'll begin by taking a cooperative attitude, that's half the battle. We all have to face reality, Dowd, sooner or later.
Doctor, I wrestled with reality for 40 years, and I'm happy to state I finally won out over it. Won't you and Miss Kelly join me now down at Charlie's?
There you are, buddy. Upstairs. We're going upstairs. Doctor okay?
Oh, there must be some mistake. Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly are going downtown now for a drink. I'd be glad to have you join us, Mr.
Wilson.
Wilson. They have a wonderful floor show.
Oh, yeah? Well, wait till you see the floor show we've got. Come on, buddy, upstairs.
Just a minute, Wilson. Where did you say Dr. Chumley went, Dowd?
Oh, as I said, he didn't confide his plans to me.
I mean, the doctor ain't back yet?
Not yet.
Where is he?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Mr. Dowd walked in here by himself.
Oh, he did, huh? Listen, you talk fast or I'm working you over.
Oh, I'd rather you didn't do that. And I'd rather you didn't even mention such a thing in the presence of a lovely young lady like Miss Kelly.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Chumley went into town to pick you up. That was 4 hours ago.
Where has the evening gone to?
Listen to that. Smart, huh?
Just a minute. Did you see Dr. Chumley this evening, Mr. Dowd?
We came into Charlie's at dinner time. It is a cozy spot. Let's all go down now and talk it over with a tall one.
We're going nowhere. Now, I'm asking you a question, and if you don't button your lip and give me a straight answer, I'm going to beat it out of you.
What you suggest is impossible.
What's that?
You suggest that I button up my lip and give you some straight answers. It can't be done.
Let me handle this.
Well, handle it then, but find out where the doctor is.
Dr. Chumley did come into Charlie's place, you say?
Yes, he did, and I was very glad to see him.
Go on.
Well, he had asked for me, and naturally the proprietor brought him over and left him. We exchanged the conventional greetings. I said, "How do you do, Dr. Chumley?" And he said, "How do you do, Mr. Dowd?" I believe we said that at least once.
Okay.
Oh, I am trying to be tactful. I then introduced him to Harvey.
To who?
A white rabbit, 6 feet tall.
6 feet.
6 feet 1.5.
Okay, fool around with it. The doctor's probably somewhere bleeding to death in a ditch.
Boy, if those were his plans for the evening, he didn't tell me.
Go on, Mr. Dowd.
Well, the doctor sat down in the booth with us. I sat on the outside like this, and Harvey sat on the inside near the wall with the doctor across from Harvey's where he could look at me.
That's right. Spend all night in the seating arrangements.
Well, Harvey then suggested I buy him a drink. And knowing that Harvey does not like to drink alone, I suggested to Dr. Chumley that we join him.
So,
We joined him.
go on.
We joined him again.
Then what?
We kept right on joining him.
Skip all the joining.
Well, you are asking me to skip a large portion of the evening.
Tell us what happened. Come on, please.
Dr. Chumley and Harvey got into a conversation. Quietly at first, but later it became rather heated. And Dr. Chumley raised his voice.
Yeah? Why?
Well, Harvey seemed to feel that the doctor should assume some of the financial responsibility of the joining, but Dr. Chumley didn't seem to want to do that.
I can believe that part of it.
Let him talk. See how far he'll go. This guy's got guts.
So I agreed to take the whole thing. We go down to Charlie's place quite often, Harvey and I, and the proprietor is a fine man with an interesting approach to life. Then the other matter came up.
Skip the damn double talk and get on with it.
Mr. Wilson, you are a sincere type of person, but I must ask you again not to use that language in the presence of Miss Pellet.
You're right, Dowd, and we're sorry. Now, you say the other matter came up?
Yes, there was a beautiful blonde woman, Mrs. Smethills, and her escort seated in the booth across from us. And Dr. Chumley got up and walked over and sat beside her, explaining that they had once met in Chicago. Her escort escorted Dr. Chumley back over to Harvey and tried to point out that it would be better if Dr. Chumley would mind his own affairs. Does he have any?
Does he have any what?
Or does he have any affair?
How would I know?
Please hurry, Mr. Dowd. We're all so worried.
Well, Dr. Chumley then urged Harvey to join him down at Blondie's Chicken Inn, but Harvey wanted to go to Eddie's instead. So while they were arguing, I walked over to the bar to order another drink, and when I came back, they were gone.
Where did they go? I mean, where did the doctor go?
Well, I don't know. I had a date out here with Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly, and I came out to pick them up, hoping that later on we'd run into Harvey and the doctor and make a party out of it.
So, you satisfied? Got his story. Okay, you're lying and we know it.
Oh, I never lied, Mr. Wilson.
You've done something with the doctor and I'm finding out what it is.
Don't touch him, Wilson.
Maybe he isn't lying, Wilson.
That's all this guy is a bunch of lies. Yeah, you don't believe this story about the doctor sitting there talking to a big white rabbit, do you?
Well, maybe Dr. Chumley did go to Charlie's place.
Saw a big rabbit, I suppose.
And why not? Harvey was there. At first, the doctor seemed frightened of Harvey, but that gave way to admiration as the evening wore on. The evening wore on. Now, that's a nice expression. With your permission, I'll say it again. The evening wore on.
With your permission, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat.
Mr. Wilson, don't you have some old friends you can go play with?
The doctor! He couldn't come out here with an ordinary case of disease. No! He's hit up with a 6-foot rabbit.
Well, stimulating as all this is, I really must be getting on downtown.
Charlie's place? Is there a Dr. Chumley anywhere around there? He was there with a Mr. Dowd earlier in the evening. What? Well, you don't have to bite my head off. My, that man was mad. He said that Mr. Dowd was welcome any time, but his friend was not.
Oh, that's Mr. McNulty, the bartender. He thinks a lot of me. Now, why don't we all go down and have a drink?
Wait a minute.
Mr. Dowd?
Yes, my dear. May I hold your hand?
Yes, if you want to. Poor Mrs. Chumley is so worried. Something must have happened to the doctor. Won't you please try and remember something else that might help her, please?
My dear, I would do anything for you. I would almost be willing to live my life over. Almost, but I've told it all.
You sure?
Quite sure. But ask me again anyway, won't you? I like that warm tone you had in your voice just now.
So did I.
Oh, nuts.
What?
Nuts.
Well, I really must be getting on downtown. I have things to do.
Mr. Dowd, what is it you do?
Oh, Harvey and I sit in the bars and have a drink or two and play the jukebox. Soon the faces of the other people turn toward mine and smile. They are saying, "We don't know your name, mister, but you're a lovely fellow." Harvey and I warm ourselves in all these golden moments. You see, we have entered as strangers, and soon we have friends. They come over, they sit with us, they drink with us, they talk to us. They tell about all the big, terrible things they've done. And the wonderful things they will do. Their hopes, their regrets, their loves, their hates. All very large, because nobody ever brings anything small into a bar. Then I introduce them to Harvey. And he is bigger and grander than anything they have to offer me. When they leave impressed. The same people seldom come back. my dear. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. Too bad, isn't it?
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Oh, Harvey's his name.
How do you know that?
That's a very interesting coincidence, Doctor. One night several years ago, I was walking early in the evening along Fairfax Street, between 18th and 19th. Do you know that block?
Yes, yes.
Well, I had just helped Ed Hickey into a taxi cab. Ed had been mixing his rye with his gin, and I felt he needed conveying. I started walking down the street when I heard a voice saying, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." Well, I turned, and there was this great white rabbit leaning against a lamppost. Well, I didn't think anything of that, because when you've lived in a town as long as I have lived in this one, you get quite used to the fact that everybody knows your name. So we talked for a while. I went over and we talked, and he said to me, "Ed Hickey is a little spiff this evening, or could I be mistaken?" Well, he was not mistaken. I think a lot of Ed. I think the world and all of Ed, but he was spiffed. So we talked for a while longer, and I stopped him. I said, "Now you have the advantage of me. You know my name, but I don't know yours." And right back at me he said, "What name do you like?" Well, I didn't have to think a minute about that. Harvey has always been my favorite name. So I said, "Harvey." And this is the interesting part of the whole thing. He said, "What a coincidence. My name happens to be Harvey."
What was your father's name, Dowd?
Oh, John Frederick.
Dowd, when you were a child, you had a playmate, didn't you? Someone with whom you spent many happy, carefree hours?
Oh, yes, Doctor, yes. Didn't you?
What was his name?
Vern McElhenney. Did you ever know the McElhenney, Doctor?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. There were a lot of them, and they circulated. A wonderful family.
Think carefully, Dowd. Wasn't there someone, somewhere, sometime whom you knew by the name of Harvey? Didn't you ever know anyone by that name?
Oh, no, Doctor, no. Maybe that's why I always had such hopes for it.
Come on, Wilson. We'll take Mr. Dowd upstairs now.
I'm taking him nowhere. You've made this your show, you run it. Letting him sit here, forgetting all about the doctor. You've made it your show, you run it.
Come on, Dowd. Come on, Elvis.
Very well, Lyman, but I'm afraid I won't be able to visit with you for long. I promised Harvey I will take him to the floor show.
Miss Kelly?
Oh, boy. Dr. Charlie, are you all right?
All right? Of course I'm all right. I'm being followed. Lock that door.
Who's following you?
None of your business.
How'd you get out here, Dr. Charlie? I just saw you go in there.
I went out through my window. Don't leave me.
No, Doctor.
Get that man down out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
No, don't leave me.
But you said...
Dundee, on the telephone.
Okay, Doctor. Dundee, get that guy down his clothes and get him down here right away.
No, don't leave me.
Just a minute, Doctor.
I want to see Dr. Chapman.
Hiya, Myrtle.
Hello, Wilson.
Dr. Chapman, we're going to talk. This thing is serious.
It certainly is.
More serious than you suspect. But where can we go to talk? In your office?
No, not there.
The doctor don't want you in his office.
Sit down, Dr. Chapman. Sit down, Myrtle May.
Sit down, Dr. Chapman. Sit down, Myrtle May. Don't go, Wilson. Don't leave me.
Chumley, hear my notes, the facts. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you. Is that okay?
Dr. Chumley, has it ever occurred to you that there possibly might be something like this rabbit, Harvey?
Of course there isn't. And anybody who thinks there is crazy. There's nothing the matter with me. I'm like my father's family. They're dead.
Now then, my client, the plaintiff, Miss Vita Louise Simmons, under oath, swears that on the morning of November 2nd, while standing in the kitchen of her home, heard her name called, she turned and saw this big white rabbit, Harvey. He was staring at her. Resenting the intrusion, the plaintiff made certain remarks and drove the creature from the room. He left. What did she say to him? She was emphatic. The remarks are not important.
I want to know what she said to get this creature out of her sanitarium. I mean, out of her home.
Judge, I'd rather you didn't tell him. It isn't a bit like mother.
Quit stalling. Let's have it.
She looked him straight in the eye and exclaimed in the heat of anger, "To hell with you."
To hell with you. He left?
Yes, he left, but that's not the point. The point is it perjury or is it something we can cope with? I ask for your opinion.
Ruthie, I've been looking all over for you.
Dr. Sanderson, disregard what I said to you this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You are a very astute young man.
Oh, Lyman, did you hear?
Oh, baby.
Doctor, you must keep Uncle Elwood out here.
No. I want the sanitarium the way it was before that man came out here this afternoon.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You do?
Oh, certainly. It gets on everyone's nerves the way Uncle Elwood knows what's going to happen before it happens. This morning, for instance, he told us that Mrs. McElhenney's Aunt Rose would arrive tonight unexpectedly from Cleveland.
And did she?
Did you what?
Aunt Rose. Did she come, just as Harvey said she would?
Oh, yes, but what of it? What do we care for McElhenney's?
Does she do this often?
Oh, yes, and isn't it silly? He tells us that Harvey tells him everything. Harvey knows everything. How could he when there's no such thing as Harvey?
Fly specks. I've been spending my life among fly specks, on miracles, the median lampposts. Median lampposts and 18th and Fairfax.
Oh, good. Nobody here but people.
Promise not to come out here this afternoon.
Good evening. I brought your Uncle Elwood's bathrobe. Well, why are you all just standing here? I thought you'd be committing him.
Sit down there, girl.
I will not sit down there.
How about you and me stepping out Saturday night, Myrtle May?
Certainly not. Myrtle, come over here.
Sorry.
Is everything settled?
It will be.
Doctor, may I give an opinion?
Oh,
Yes, by all means, please do.
Omar, that's the doctor I told you about. The eyes.
It's my opinion that Elwood P. Dowd is suffering from a third-degree hallucination, and the other party concerned is the victim of autosuggestion. I recommend shock formula 977 for him and bed rest at home for...
You do?
That's my diagnosis. Your brother will not see the rabbit anymore after the injection. We've used it in hundreds of psychopathic cases.
Don't you call my brother a psychopathic case. There's never been anything like that in our family.
Mother, if you didn't think he was psychopathic, why did you bring him out here?
Where else could I take him? I couldn't take him to jail, could I? This thing is not your uncle's fault. Besides, why did Harvey have to speak to him in the first place? With the town full of people, why did he have to bother Elwood?
Stop putting your oar in. Keep your oar out. If this shock formula brings people back to reality, then give it to them. That's where we want Elwood.
I'm not sure it would work in a case of this kind, Doctor.
It always has.
Harvey always follows Elwood home.
He does?
Yes, and now if you give Elwood the formula and he doesn't see Harvey, he won't let him in. Then when he comes to the door, I'll deal with him.
Mother, would you stop talking about Harvey as if there was such a thing?
Well, May, you've got a lot to learn, and I hope you'll learn it.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elwood. I brought you your bathrobe.
Thank you, Rita.
Dr. Chumley, What do we do? We've got to do something.
Oh, yes, we must.
We certainly do.
Yes, it's imperative.
Well, while you're making up your mind, why don't we all go down to Charlie's and
You're not going anywhere, Elwood. You're staying here.
Yes, Uncle Elwood.
Stay here, son.
Well, I plan to leave. You want me to stay. An element of conflict in any discussion is a good thing. It means that everybody is taking part and nobody is left out. I like that. Oh, how did you get along with Harvey, Doctor?
Where's your answer, Doctor?
I must be alone with this man. Would you all step into the other room? I'll have my diagnosis in a moment.
Oh, do hurry, Doctor.
I will.
You stay here, Elwood.
Let me give you a chair, Mr. Dowd. Let me give you a cigar. Is there anything else I can get for you?
Oh, what did you have in mind?
Tell me, Mr. Dowd, what kind of a man are you? Where do you come from?
Oh, didn't I give you one of my cards?
And where on the face of this tired older did you find a thing like him?
Oh, Harvey the Polka?
Is it true that he has a function? That he
Gets advance notice? Yes, I'm happy to say it is. Harvey is versatile. Harvey can stop clocks.
What?
You've heard that expression, his face would stop a clock?
Yes, but why? For what purpose?
Harvey says that he can look at your clock and stop. And you can go away as long as you like, with whomever you like, and go as far as you like. And when you come back, not 1 minute will have ticked by.
You mean that he actually is able to...
Einstein has overcome time and space. Harvey has not only overcome time and space, but any objections.
Does he do this for you?
Well, he is willing to at any time, but so far I've never been able to think of any place I'd rather be. I always have a wonderful time wherever I am, with whomever I'm with. I'm having a fine time right now with you, Doctor. Corona, Corona.
I know where I go.
Where?
I go to Akron.
Akron.
There's a cottage camp outside of Akron in a grove of maple trees. Cool, green, beautiful.
My favorite tree.
I go there with a pretty young woman, a strange woman, a quiet woman.
Under a tree.
I wouldn't even want to know her name. I would be just Mr. Brown.
Why wouldn't you want to know her name? You might be acquainted with some of the same people.
I'd send out for cold beer. Then I would talk to her. I would say things that I've never said before to anyone. Things that are locked up in here. And then I would send out for more cold beer.
No whiskey?
Beer is better.
Maybe under a tree. But she might like a highball.
I wouldn't let her talk to me. But as I talked to her, I wanted her to reach out a soft white hand and stroke my head and say, poor thing. Poor thing.
How long would you like that to go on?
2 weeks.
Now, wouldn't that get monotonous? Just Akron beer and poor thing?
No, it would not. It would be wonderful.
I can't help but feel you're making a mistake in not allowing that woman to talk. If she gets around at all, she may have picked up some very interesting little news items. And I'm sure you're making a mistake in having all that beer and no whiskey. But if you're 2 weeks,
Cold beer at Akron. One last blink. God, man.
do you think you'd like to lie down for a while?
No. But tell me, Mr. Dowd, would he do this for me?
Well, he could, and he might. I have never heard Harvey say a word against Akron. Oh, by the way, Doctor, where is Harvey?
You mean you don't know?
Well, the last time I saw him, he was with you.
Ah!
Oh, he's probably waiting for me right now down at Charlie's.
That's it. Down at Charlie's.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Oh, no, Mr. Dowd. Not in there.
Oh, I couldn't leave without saying goodnight to my friend, Dr. Sanderson.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson is not your friend. None of those people are your friends. I am your friend.
Well, thank you, Doctor, and I'm yours.
And the sister of yours, she is at the bottom of this conspiracy against you. She is the one who's trying to persuade me to lock you up. Today she had commitment papers drawn up. She's got your power of attorney and the key to your safety box. She brought you out here this afternoon.
My sister did all that in one afternoon. That Vita certainly is a whirlwind.
Oh, man, haven't you any righteous indignation?
Dr. Truckley, my mother used to say to me, in this world, Elwood, she always called me Elwood, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart, or oh so pleasant. For years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote.
Just the same, if I have to lock up your sister, I will protect you. Would you like me to do that?
Oh, no, Doctor, not unless Vita wanted it that way. Oh, not that you don't have a very nice place out here, but I think Vita would be happier at home with Harvey and me and Myrtle May. Oh, Miss Kelly, diviner's grace has never brightened this enchanting face. Oh, it's just delicate. My dear, you will never look lovelier.
Oh, I'll never feel happy, Mr. Dowd, I'm sure.
Well,
Yes, Doctor.
I wonder if I would be able to remember any more of that poem.
This rabbit gag is a good one. Kelly never kissed me.
Oh, it has always been my favorite poem.
Come on, buddy, you're discharged. This way.
Wilson, take your hands off that man.
What?
Apologize to Mr. Dowd.
Apologize to him? The guy with the rabbit?
Apologize. Apologize.
Okay, I apologize. This is the door.
If I leave, I'll remember.
Just a minute, Mr. Dowd. Do women often come up to you, as Miss Kelly did just then, and kiss you?
Oh, every once in a while.
Yes.
And I encourage it too.
Hell of decency. I've got to have that rabbit. Go ahead and knock.
Oh, Doctor, I couldn't leave without saying good night.
Just a minute, Dowd. Doctor, do you agree with my diagnosis?
Yes, yes. Call the others in.
Thank you, Doctor. Judge Gaffney, Mrs. Simmons, will you step in here a minute, please?
Is it settled?
I find I concur with Dr. Sampson.
Thank you, Doctor.
That's wonderful. What could be?
Good boy.
Well, let's celebrate. I've got some new bars listed in the back of this book.
This injection carries a violent reaction. Give it, we must have his consent. Will he give it?
Oh, of course he will if I ask him.
Dr. Rabbit? I doubt it.
Don't ask him. Just give it to him.
Bessie's barn dance. Blondie chicken in. Better late than never. Benny's Drive-In. We'll go to Benny's Drive-In. We should telephone ahead for a table. How many of us will there be, Vita?
Oh, Elwood.
Mr. Dowd, I have an injection. Formula 977. That will be good for you. Will you take it?
Elwood, you won't see this rabbit anymore.
But you will see your responsibilities, your duties.
Oh, I'm sure if you thought of it, Doctor, it must be a very fine thing. And if I run it to anyone who needs it, I'll be glad to recommend it. For myself, I wouldn't care for it.
You hear that, Judge? You hear that, Doctor? That's what we have to put up with.
Do you want me to take this, Vita?
I'm only thinking of you, Elwood. You're my brother. I've known you for years. I'd do anything for you. That Harvey wouldn't do anything for you. He's making a fool out of you. Elwood, don't be a fool.
Oh, I won't.
Why, you could amount to something. You could be sitting on the Western Slope Waterboard right now. You'd only go over and ask them.
Oh, all right, Vita, if that's what you want. Harvey and I will go over and ask them tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I don't want to see another tomorrow. Not if Myrtle and I have to live in the house with that rabbit. Why, we have no social life. Our friends never come to see us. We have no life at all. We're both miserable. Wish I were dead. But maybe you don't care.
I've always felt that Vita should have everything she wants. Are you sure, Vita? Oh, I'll take it. Where do I go, Doctor?
In Dr. Sanders's office, Mr. Dowd.
Will this take long, Doctor?
Just a few minutes. Why don't you wait?
You'll say goodbye to the old fellow for me, won't you, Doctor?
Of course.
Dr. Sanderson said it wouldn't take long.
Oh, Mother, don't fidget.
Oh, how can I help it?
How stunning. Mother, couldn't you just see me in a house coat of this material?
Yes, dear. But let me get a good night's sleep first.
Come in. What do you want?
I'm looking for a little shoe.
jumped out of my cab without paying me.
Oh, yes, I forgot. How much is it?
All the way out here from town, $2.75.
$2.75. Oh, I could have sworn I brought my coin purse. Where is it? Myrtle, do you have any money?
I spent the money Uncle Elwood gave me on my new hairdo for the party.
Judge, do you have $2.75 I could give this man?
Oh, sorry, nothing but a check.
We don't take checks.
Oh, Dr. Chumley, would you happen to have $2.75 I could borrow to pay this cab driver?
Don't have my wallet. No time to look for it now. I have to get on with this injection. Sorry.
I'll get it for you from my brother, but he's in there to get an injection. It won't take long. You'll have to wait.
You're going to get my money from your brother, and he's in there getting some of that stuff they shoot out here?
Yes, it'll only be a few minutes.
Lady, I want my money now.
I told you it won't take long. I want you to drive us back to town anyway.
And I told you, I want my money now, or I'm nosing my cab back to town, and you can wait for the bus at 6 in the morning.
Well, of all the stubborn, pig-headed things.
I should say so.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing that $2.75 won't fix. You heard me, take it or leave it.
I've never heard anything so unreasonable in my life. Dr. Chumley, would you let Elwood step out here? This cab driver won't wait.
Don't be too long.
Elwood, I walked off without my coin purse. Would you give this man $2.75? But don't give him any more. He's been very rude.
How do you do? Dowd is my name, Elwood P.
Loughran, Egypt.
Well, I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Loughran. This is my sister, Mrs. Simmons, my charming little niece, Myrtle May Simmons, Judge Gaffney, and Dr. Chumley.
Hi.
Have you been here long?
Well, I've lived around here about 10 years.
Do you enjoy your work?
It's okay. I worked for Apex Cabs 9 years. And my brother Joe's been working for Brown Cabs pretty near so.
Well, you drive for Apex and your brother Joe for Brown. Now, that's very interesting, isn't it, Dita?
Oh,
Mr. Loughran, let me give you one of my cards.
Better get on with this, Mr. Dow.
Oh, certainly. 1 minute, Doctor. My sister and my charming little niece live with me here at this address. Won't you and your brother come over and have dinner with us sometime?
Sure, be glad to.
When? When would you be glad to?
Well, I couldn't come any later Tuesday. I'm working all the rest of the week.
Well, you must come on Tuesday then. We'll expect you and be delighted to see you, won't we, Vita?
Elwood, I'm sure this man has friends of his own.
Vita, one can't have too many friends.
Elwood, don't keep Dr. Chumley waiting. That's rude.
Oh, of course. Here you are. And keep the change. Well, I'm glad you were making Mr. Loughran, and I'll expect you with your brother Joe on Tuesday night. Will you excuse me now?
Sure. Sweet lad.
Certainly. You could just as well have waited.
Oh, no. Listen, lady. I've been driving this route 9 years. I brought them out here to get that stuff, and I drove them back after they had it. It changes them.
I certainly hope so.
And you ain't kidding. On the way out here, they sit back and enjoy the ride. They talk to me. Sometimes we stop and watch the sunset and look at the birds fly. Sometimes we stop and look at the birds when there ain't no birds. And watch the sunset when it's raining. We have a swell time, and I always get a big tip. But afterwards, uh-oh.
Afterwards? Oh, what do you mean afterwards? Oh.
They grab. They yell at me to watch the lights, watch the brakes, watch the intersection. They scream at me to hurry. They got no faith in me and my buggy. Yes, the same cab, the same driver, but we got over the very same roads. No fun and no tips.
My brother would have tipped you anyway. He's very generous. Always has been.
Not after this, he won't be. Lady, after this, he'll be a perfectly normal human being. You know what bastards they are. Glad I met you. I'll wait.
Judge Gaffney, Myrtle May, I don't want Elwood to have it. Stop it. I don't want Elwood. Elwood, come on.
You can't do that. Dr. Chumley's giving him the injection.
Mother, stop this.
Elwood, come out. I don't want Elwood that way. I don't like people like that.
Mother, stop this.
You shut up. I've lived longer than you have. I remember my father. I remember your father.
What's this? What's all this commotion?
What's the matter, Doctor? She sounded off again.
She wants to stop the injection.
You haven't given it to him yet, have you?
No, we're ready. Wilson, take Mrs. Simmons away.
Yes, Doctor. Come on, lady.
Get your hands off me, you white slaver!
You didn't want this rabbit either.
And what's wrong with Harvey? If Myrtle May and Elwood and I want to live with Harvey, it's nothing to you. You don't even have to come around. It's our business. Elwood. Oh, Elwood.
Oh, there, Vita. Sit down. Vita's all tired out. She's done a lot today.
Have it your own way, but I'm not giving up my game at the club again, no matter how big that animal is.
Elwood, let's get out of here. I hate this place. I wish I'd never seen it.
But see here.
Well, it's whatever Vita says, Doctor.
Look, my coin purse. It must have been here all along. I could have paid the cab driver myself. Harvey, come along, Elwood. Come along, Renee. Hurry up. Come on.
Well, Doctor. Good night, Dr. Chumley. And good night to Mr. Wilson.
Come along, Elwood.
Doctor. For years I've known what my family thinks of Harvey. But I've always wondered what Harvey's family thinks of me. Oh, there you are! Doctor, do you mind? You're standing in his way. Where have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Sorry, madam. Thank you very much. Sorry. Into the microphone, please.
Sorry, I have nothing to say.
If elected, I will not serve.
That's
now
right.
tell me, Mr. Knopper, what does it feel like to have a smash hit on your hand?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful,
I
Miss
see.
Cronin.
Now, would you tell me what is the secret?
secret of your success?
The secret to my success. When I figure it out, I will let you know.
Thank you very much. Your fans will love to hear this.
Thank you.
There.
She's a celebrity.
Now, Madam, you saw the show this evening.
Wait a minute. No.
Tell me, did you think it was the smashing success?
Lovely.
Thank you very much. We've got to get the nurse on here. Yes.
Now, just commercials.
Tell me, dear,
Harvey.
what's it like to work in a psychiatric facility?
Well, it gets depressing at times, but I enjoy it.
I understand, dear.
Well,
but there are some handsome doctors, right? Yes, that is very
yes.
good.
Don't touch my head. I get paranoid.
Mr. Dowd. Mr. Dowd. Mr. Dowd.
Oh, how do you
I
do,
beg your
Mr.
pardon, but can we interrupt for a moment? This is the roving reporter.
Yes, oh, yes.
And we'd like to know what you've done with Harvey. Where is
Well, Harvey just finished this cup of wine,
I see.
so I must get him another.
Is he
He must
enjoying?
be at the bar.
Is he enjoying this party?
He certainly is.
And
He's
what
had
are
a
you
wonderful
going to
time.
do after this little show?
Well, we're going to continue the party. When I enjoy people, I like to stay right with them. So we're going to go over to Harvey and Paul's house.
I see.
And we're going to watch Harvey on the magic of videotape.
Oh, we are going to look forward to that. Well, now I think we better get Harvey his wine before he gets
Harvey?
testy.
Come here a minute. There's Harvey. Harvey's watching.
I'd like to speak to the judge on the subject of commitment laws on as they affect Harvey and Elwood.
Is the TV camera on?
Yes.
Oh my God, it is. Look, there's no red light.
Just look right straight into the camera here and tell us.
We're scared.
The commitment laws now, do you think they would accept Elwood and Harvey into an institution today?
No, definitely not. No. This is perfectly fine. This is a very normal day. Our politicians are just like Harvey anyway today. Yes, there's no difference between Harvey and the politicians today.
I see. I think
See him now and then you don't see him, right?
all you see is their footprints going away. Tell me, my dear, do you have aspirations?
Aspirations? I hope not.
Or would you like to have a part with more lines?
Definitely.
I see.
You don't know how it is to be all done with in 8 minutes.
8 minutes. That is a short time. Now, if you had your way, what part would you most like to play?
What part would I most like to play? Well, I am looking forward to Kiss Me Kate. Anything they could give me. Anything, I will grovel. Anything.
I understand. Well, I'm certainly glad, and I hope to see you at tryouts.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see you again, I'm sure. What would I like to do? Ask you a question for our roving camera reporter here. Yes, tell me about, what is the difference between New York cabbies and cabbies at the Chumley Rest Home?
Well, I was also in the English version,
I see.
and I played in American.
Did you really? Now, how did that come off? Would you tell me that?
Well, it was so good I come here.
I see. This is sort of like your springboard then.
It's the only role I play. All around the world.
We'd love to see you in those roles, in your cabbie role. But I especially like your minor role.
My minor role. I played a lot of them.
The minor. Yeah, I think we ought to wrap it up. This is John Cronin wrapping up. Thank you very much. Turn it off. Thank you. Good night.